So today I'm going to talk about this concept that I use when making decisions. And I decided to talk about decision making because as business leaders, you are all making a bunch of decisions in your business. Everything from your logo design to who you want to work with to the types of offerings you want to give. And the ability to make good decisions is what makes a great business leader in the workforce. I think one of the most oft-quoted sections of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is in fact about decision making. You might recall that Napoleon Hill interviewed over 500 highly successful entrepreneurs in all walks of life and found that they all shared a common characteristics. They made decisions quickly and they rarely, if ever, changed their mind. So I'm going to couch my talk today in terms of my own life experience, and hopefully you can glean something from that. And I want to share a concept that a couple of my mentors have given me, which is you make decisions from where you want to be, not from where you are. Now, back in 2004, I was working for GE. I'd been there 6 years, had 7 different supervisors, and 5 different job titles. The high-tech industry was going crazy. We were trying to stay afloat, and we were having a lot of layoffs every 4 to 6 months. Usually after each one of those layoffs, management would call the remaining employees together and give sort of what I call a rah-rah pitch to say we had to cut deep this time, so we won't have to do it again. But then in 4 to 6 months, sure enough, we would have another layoff. But this time we had a senior VP of marketing who was from outside the company, and he said something that had never been said before. He said, folks, we need people who are dedicated and committed, and if you're not that, well, let me know because I'll give you the same package I gave everybody else. Well, I found this pretty appealing because the layoff packages had been getting significantly worse, not better. And although I was making great money, I was just so exhausted from the amount of hours. And at this time around GE, there was a lot of talk about the frog in the boiling pot of water. I don't know if this is true, I've never tested it, but presumably if you put a frog into a boiling pot of water, the frog will try to escape to save his life. But if you put a frog into a pot of water and ever so slowly increase the temperature of that water, the frog will try to adapt to its uncomfortable environment until eventually it dies when the water boils. I was beginning to feel a lot like I was trying to adapt to my uncomfortable environment. So the VP makes this offer, and I didn't think he expected anyone to take it, but I didn't want to be the frog. But all I'd known up to that point was the corporate world. I had this inkling about being an entrepreneur. After all, I'd gone to auction school 2 years prior, and I had this interest in trying plus-size modeling and see if anything would happen with that. But all I knew was the corporate world, and if I stayed in that mindset, that's where I would be. I had to think like an entrepreneur, and an entrepreneur would let go. He would take the package. If I stayed in that corporate world and just climbed the ladder, which is really expected, I would always have the same issues facing me, even 2 years down the road. If I made decisions from where I was for the rest of my life, where was I going to stay? Right where I was. So I took the package. So in late 2008, we'll flash forward here, my company Red Apple Auctions had been open for 3 years, and I was kind of already getting a little tired of it. And the idea that I had run into was this coaching program that would teach me how to take my business online, but it was $18,000. Inconveniently, I had just purchased a second home in Miami, and inconveniently found out I was going to spend thousands of dollars on hurricane-proof windows. It would have been very easy for me to say, you know what, this just isn't the right time to invest in this course. But instead I thought, you know what would a savvy businesswoman do? A savvy businesswoman would take that course because she would understand that where the course was going to take her was much greater than the cost. She would understand the value. I think it's easy to base your decisions on the facts and circumstances that are surrounding you today. And I just encourage you to avoid that temptation, because the reality is that all that's around you right now is just what remains from yesterday's decisions. If you're going to shake up your life, you've got to make decisions from where you want to be and not from where you are. So what has all this decision making given me? I feel it's given me 3 gifts. 1, the gift of relief. If you've ever been in that situation where you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, and then you make the decision, you have relief. Number 2, the gift of time. You make the decision and then you go do something else you want to do. And finally, the gift of resourcefulness. Because if you spend thousands of dollars on a high-end marketing course, trust me, you will rise to the occasion to pay for it. Thank you.